Good morning. Welcome, members, friends, and visitors, in person and online. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tarpon Springs. A special welcome to those who recently joined our church. Whether you are a new or long-standing member, whether older or younger, middle-aged or newborn, from whatever background you claim and life experience that you've had, I'm so happy that you are here. You are welcome here. I'm Alex Merati, serving this congregation on the Board of Trustees. The threefold mission of this church is spiritual growth, social justice, and the arts. And I invite you to learn about and participate in any of our ministries and activities. We gather in all of our members and friends today by participating in our annual water ceremony, led by our minister, Reverend Kristina Spaude, with music by our director, Bonnie Whitehurst, and the UU Tarpon Springs Church Choir. For those of us visiting in church or online, please fill out a connection card and drop it off when the collection plate goes around. Or if you're watching us online, please send us an email at membership@uutarpon.org because we do want to keep in touch with you. At the end of the service, you may come up or on Zoom speak any joy or sorrow you have in the life of yourself or your loved one, or if you'd rather have the worship associate speak that joy or concern, please fill out this card and keep it up, send it up at the collection time. Again, you belong here. Welcome.
Please join in singing our opening hymn, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing, and that is number 126 in the Gray Book. 126 in your gray hymnal.
Come thou fount of every blessing, tune our hearts to sing thy grace. Strings of mercy never ceasing, calls for songs of loudest praise. While the hope of life's perfection fills our hearts with joyful song, teach us ever to be faithful, may we still thy goodness prove. Come thou fount of every wisdom, lift our hearts to what may come. See the lion and the young lamb dwell together in thy home. Hear the cries of war fall silent, feel our love glow like the sun. When we all serve one another, then our heaven is begun. Come thou fount of inspiration, turn our lives to higher ways. Lift our gloom and desperation, show the promise of this day. Help us bind ourselves in union, fill our hands with all our love. With thine aid, O fount of justice, earth be fair as heaven above.
When we introduce ourselves, it is helpful for those with vision loss and others to say some things about ourselves. So I am the Reverend Kristina Spaude. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a white woman. I have chin-length curly brown hair, parted on one side, and blue eyes. And here at this church, we want to acknowledge that we are on the lands of the Tocobaga and Seminole peoples. Our opening words this morning come from Molly Gordon. This is Learning to Love This World. We gather together this morning tenderly, like drops of dew on a leaf of grass. Hopefully, like gathered raindrops in a cloud. Gleefully, like water rushing in a stream to the sea. Deeply, like groundwater pulled up from a well. We gather from every direction for another year of growth and depth, another year of companionship and hope, another year of learning to love this world. We gather like the water that joins us across all of creation, the water that connects us within and without, merging and flowing across the entire world.
We light our chalice with these words from Michelle Richards. We light this chalice to celebrate our beginnings, our cosmic origins of dust and new stars, of life that crawled from the sea and walked upon land, then harnessed the technology to fly back into the stars from whence we came.
Please join in singing number 123 in the Gray Book, Spirit of Life. Hymn number 123.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Our story today is Singing Down the Rain by Joy Crowley, and I have help for telling it today from our children and youth, and I'm also going to ask for help from all of you. We have some sound effects we're going to be using during the service, so repeat after me. Burak, burak, burak. Z, 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 Z.
Z, 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 Z.
Ah, 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 ah. Okay, good job. We're not done yet. We will sometimes be singing or chanting these words. Ushala, Boba Loli. I believe in you. Ushala.
Ushala.
Bobaloli.
Bogaloli.
Ushala.
Ujala.
Bobalo. Ushala.
Ujala.
Bobaloli.
Bogaloli.
Ushala.
Ujala.
Bobalo.
Bogalo.
And then there are the sounds of the rain. Slow at first, rubbing our palms. And then some drops begin with some and then it will pour down, and we're gonna slap our thighs. We're gonna clap our hands. We're gonna stomp our feet. We're gonna clap our hands and slap our thighs and snap our fingers and rub our palms. All right. If I could have my helpers join me, I think we're ready. Do you want to put your stuff here?
So I'm going to begin us. So we're going to go in a specific order.
Okay.
So you want to stand back a second, and then each one of us comes up. We'll come over here. How's that? Okay.
Kind of have to eat the mic.
Hi, I'm going to begin us just to give us a little courage to continue. Our story begins. But oh, my butt, it was hot. It was hot and dry for weeks on end. The porch of Mrs. Williams' store was a favorite gathering spot for the adults. Brianna and the other children gathered under the old oak, laying on ground that was baked bare as pie crust. All the grown folks sat and fanned themselves with their hats. They were mostly quiet, but every so often a comment was made, things like, "I never did see the likes of all my born days," or, "We've got to get some rain soon or the corn will surely dry." Right here.
Mr. William rocked back and forth, he groaned, "Sweet wonder river no more than mud. Air is so thick you have to cut it up to breathe it." Mr. Bridges snapped his at him. "Talking don't do a thing to make it better." "Talking makes me feel better," he replied. "You give me a 2-day rain and I'll gladly hush my mouth." This hot spell had gone on so long that the good and kind neighbors were indeed getting scorchy in the dry heat. Even polite conversations was drying up.
Brianna glanced at the grown-ups sitting and rocking. She lay back and looked up through brown leaves, and the blue jay that huddled with closed eyes and drooping wings. Beside her on a branch sat a cricket as still as a dead twig. Some children who rarely missed anything all sat up, taking notice that someone was heading their way. And sure enough, a cloud of yellow dust was rolling down the road, and in front was a blue pickup truck speeding like it was going somewhere important.
The truck didn't turn off the highway. It came into town and slowed to a stop right in front of Mr. Williams' store. Up stepped a fine woman with bangles on her arms, painted parrots in her ears, and a smile so big it used up most of her face. Everyone sat up straight to watch the way that woman swayed as she walked to the steps of the store. "You folks need me?" she asked. The parrots were dancing around her ears. Mr. Williams had stopped rocking. "Well, no, ma'am. Can't say we do." The woman raised her eyebrows. "You sure now? Because coming down that road I surely felt a praying and needing certainly felt it deep down in my bones." Mr. William shook his head and said, "The only thing we need here is a mighty good shower of rain." Then the woman, she just laughed out loud. The sound was like raindrops on a tin roof. "Sir, that's what I'm referring to. I happen to specialize in rain songs."
Brianna sat up. Rain songs? Everyone on the porch turned to each other. Rain songs? Rain songs? Rain songs. "Why, it's my profession," said the woman. "You all want a shower to come? You have to ask for it real sweet. Try singing it down like this." Just then she lifted her arms, jingling her bracelets like a storm of silver bells. She clapped and swayed, singing in a full, strong voice. Ushala Bovaloli.
I am in the right, Mom. Okay. It's just different sizes. Okay. It seemed to the people that the song rose as a cool wind to fill the spaces of the sky. But maybe that was just their imagination. The porch folks kind of smiled, but not knowing what else to do, they went back to their talking and rocking. Ushala boba li, ushala boba lo. A haze like thin milk spread across the sun. It hung there for a few seconds, then disappeared. The woman had stopped singing. She stood in front of the porch steps looking at the folks, her arms stretched wide. She said, "You folks got a mighty strong dryness here. One voice is not enough. Y'all want rain? Sing. Come on now. Open up. Sing out your want to the sky." Brianna's mother held her hat over her face. Well, Mr. Williams looked sideways with his eyebrows climbing up. One just plain laughed out loud, and the other pretended to be busy. The woman clapped her hands and started up again. Ushala Baba Li.
Here. Ushala bobali, ushala bobalali, ushala bobalo.
The children turned their heads. What was that echo? A deep pulsing sound was rising from the dried up river. Frogs. Hundreds of little green frogs were feeling the rain song cool on their skin and were swelling out of their throats. Buruk, buruk, buruk.
Burak, Burak, Burak.
Then the cricket on the oak tree jumped to another branch and scraped its wings like fiddle bows. See, see, see.
See.
The blue jay woke up and turned its head to one side and shook its feathers. Ah, 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 ah.
Ah, 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 ah.
A gray mist formed in the sky, and the wind rustled the dry leaves. But still it was not enough. The woman begged them, sing, sing. The folks porch just slid their eyes round and pretended she wasn't there. The children could smell the rain only a song or two away. They got up and stepped over the rain-song woman. She raised her hands in the air and began with small sounds. Ooshala babali, ooshala babali.
Ushala, bobaloli, ushala, bobalo.
Little by little, the children joined in swaying and singing.
The woman smiled and waved them close with her silvery, jingling arms, so close they were touching each other.
They swayed in a bunch like trees in the wind, clapping their hands above their heads and singing in clear, strong voices. Ushala bobaloli, ushala bobalo. What a song there was now. It was wide enough to fill the whole top, the riverbed and the fields of corn. It reached up so high that it hung mountains of clouds in the air, and it started the distant rumbling of thunder. It was too much for Brianna's mother. She let go of her house hat and stepped right down beside them, looking at the sky and singing in her big church voice, Ushala bobaloli, ushala bobalo.
Can you sing it with us? Bobaloli, ushala, bobalo.
And the rain began, slow at first. Then some drops fell. They splashed, streaming on their steps. They rolled like dusty beads on the road. Then the rain let loose and poured down. Sweet wonder, said Mr. Williams. Rain bounced on the bare earth and turned them to mud. The clouds let go in a waterfall. Rain made drum beats on the roof of the store. Rain poured in trickles and streams that flowed down to the river. Another heartbeat, and all those porch folks were out of their rocking chairs and down there with the children and Brianna. Mother stomped in the mud and laughing out loud.
None of them knew it when the woman drove away. The people from the porch were doing their own singing now, dancing wet to the skin, faces up, drinking all that mighty good rain. Like the frogs, burk, burk, burk.
Burak, burak, burak.
Like the crickets, zee, zee, zee.
Z, Z, Z.
Like the blue jay, ah, ah, ah.
Ah, ah, ah.
Like every other blessed creature in that place.
Can I hold it? One moment the rain song woman was there, and the next she was gone. Only Brianna noticed her truck hightailing off the road. Well, all that happened a little while ago. Now in that town, the grass is green, the corn is yellow, ripe, and the rivers run down to the pond. They still speak of that day that the fine woman stepped out of her truck and showed them how to sing down the rain. Ooh-shala babalo lee, ooh-shala babalo, ooh-shala babalo lee, ooh-shala babalo.
Sweet wonder. Thank you all. Thank you.
Peace of a river flowing so gently to the strength of the sea. And I take delight in the love that is growing, just like a river between you and me. Oh, I take delight in the peace of a river flowing so gently to the strength of the sea. And I take delight in the love that is growing, just like a river between you and me. Oh, I take delight in the peace of a river flowing so gently to the strength of the sea. And I take delight in the love that is growing, just like a river between you and me.
Good job. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now is the time in our service when we take our offering for the work and welfare of our church. Ours is a free faith, so we need to sustain ourselves financially. You can go to our website, uutarpon.org, and click on the donate button, or you can send your check to 57 Reed Street, Tarpon Springs, Florida, 34689. Those of you in the sanctuary with us, you can put your offering in the offering plate as it comes around. It's also the time that you can put your connection cards or your joys and sorrows cards in that offering plate. The connection cards help us keep in touch with those of you who are visiting for the first time. We look forward to that. The joys and sorrows I will read at the end of the service, or you may come up yourself to the microphone when it's time. Now the offering will be given and received. Thank you.
We will hold a brief moment of silence to let yourselves settle in to yourselves, to your seats. Take a few deep breaths into your belly, if that's comfortable. We have two readings for you. The first this morning is from Melissa Jeter. This is simply called Water. Water is soft, yet it is persistent. Water flows and takes the shape of the boundaries it is given. Yet over time, in her persistence, she can carve through mountains. When you try to grab water, you just get wet. But if you can stop grabbing at her, she will hold you up and you can float and even swim. Water under pressure cleans dirt off houses and can cut diamonds. Water raging can overflow the bounds put upon her. She can drown whole towns, flood freeways. She can put out fire and save lives. So contradictory, both soft and hard, never dominant or submissive. Water sustains, gives, and yields to life.
Our second reading is from Reverend Matt Alsbaugh. It's titled, Water Makes Its Mark. A glass of tea sweats a circle of droplets on an old table. Drying, they pull dirt and stain from the wood, leaving a ring. Water makes its mark. Deep in the earth, in a cave, a drop falls each minute. Where it lands, a great pillar of white rock has grown up. Water makes its mark. On the surface above, a stream burbles and flows, carving out potholes in the granite of its bed. Water makes its mark. Along a highway cut, a geologist points out the layers of tan slate, each penny-thin sheet, the memory of a torrential rainstorm eons ago. Water makes its mark. In its network of veins, the blood, salty like the seawater from which we sprang, flows on in cycles, giving life. Water makes its mark. The dark clouds pass on, yielding no rain. Crops wither, and drought comes. Famine, migration, violence, and death soon follow. Water makes its mark. A space probe turns its camera toward whence it came, imagining one solitary pixel of light, its color the pale blue of oceans. Water makes its mark. A solitary tear slides down the cheek, a tear of abiding joy, a tear of unending grief. We see it and share the depth of feeling at its true core. Water makes its mark.
And when we play by the water in the summer, we take just a little bit to carry away, so it can join with our brothers and its sisters when we come back together. How to run, water knows how to play. Somehow it never seems to lose its way. Down the hills, through the valleys, all the way to the sea. Look at all the same water here, in you and in me. So when we play by the water in the summer, we take just a little bit to carry away, so it can join with its brothers and its sisters when we come back together here again. Oh, thank you, planet Earth, for this sweet sacred flow. There's no other place where water makes life grow. Pretty soon the rains will fall as the star wheel turns again. Let's share our stories now about the places we've been, 'cause when we play by the water in the summer, we take just a little bit to carry away, so we can join with our brothers and our sisters when we come back together here again, so we can join with our brothers and our sisters when we come back together here again.
Who chose the story and the date for this service back in late August and started having a lot of questions about the wisdom of all of that about 2 weeks ago when we were getting evacuation notices? We know the devastating effects water can have on the environment, on all the things that people have made, and on life. We know that both droughts and floods are incredibly harmful and threatening to human and other life. We know that life flourishes somewhere in between those two extremes when there is enough for things to grow. Not surprisingly, this is also true for congregations. We struggle mightily in times of drought, and long gone are the days of flooding when there were perhaps at times too many people to do the things that needed to be done. Regardless of what the weather has brought us, and it has certainly been an intense couple of weeks, congregations on the whole tend to still be operating in drought, with the exception usually of some of the bigger non-denominational and evangelical churches. This is happening throughout the US, Canada, and other places. We have anxiety here, and as religious people on the whole, about membership, financial sustainability, the ongoing pandemic, and the state of a world so clearly on fire. We say things like, we need more members, as though this will solve the problems we have. I don't know how to live a life that isn't devoted to service. It's clear to me as I look back on my life before entering church, I was seeking ways to be of service and not knowing how to otherwise, overworked both with jobs and school. But from the time I got involved with my home congregation 16 years ago now, I did things. I remember showing up one day to a work day on one of our buildings. I don't have construction skills. I mean, I can figure it out, but that's not part of my lived experiences at this point. I live in an apartment. But I showed up trusting that somehow a pair of hands would be helpful. And the people who were there got me things to do and made their time a little easier. I hope. Jury might still be out on that one. It was this same spirit that got me involved with our local time bank, which started 5 years later. A time bank is primarily a service exchange network used as a tool to rebuild communities. Neighbors helping neighbors isn't as common a phenomenon as it once was, with people moving all the time and not connecting with each other. Time banking is a way to help people, neighbors, people in the community know each other. It helps people get social, personal, and sometimes professional and other needs met using the power of community and connection. Edgar Kahn, who created the system of time banking that has spread throughout the world, said over and over that we have what we need if we use what we have. When people bring their resources together and share amongst each other, social challenges are alleviated. We learn how to make our own stone soups in our neighborhoods, towns, communities. We come to recognize that we can care for each other. This principle that we have what we need if we use what we have is one that has continued to guide me and my work. I learned how to lean into its practice in the years that I lived where the time bank is and was actively making exchanges, and continue to support their efforts, albeit far more minimally here, as I am still a board member for it. This is why when stress and anxiety in the congregation start to rise, I remind our leaders, many of whom have been leading for a long time here or elsewhere, and through the worst parts of the pandemic, and have every right to be exhausted, and yet still show up even with smiles on their faces. When stresses and anxiety rise, I remind us to scale it back. I ask questions like, what are our highest priorities right now? What of this actually needs to happen? How can we make this work using the resources that we do have, few as they may be? If we use what we have, we will have what we need. How can we find a way through the drought with enough for us to grow, even just a little? Talking about it might not fix the rain, but it can fix other things when we think creatively. It's not always ideal, I know this. Like every other congregation in the US, Canada, and elsewhere, this congregation is struggling with low volunteerism. I say to our leaders, if people aren't offering to help or do the things, either we have to pay for it or it doesn't happen. I can tell you that we aren't paying for things because we don't have the money. We stretch that resource as far as we can get it to go, but it does have a limit. When I was a coordinator for our time bank, people would come to the orientations and say, I have a 5-year-old, he's too young to join. We had a 4-year-old member. One of his offers was to pick up sticks. On a scale of 1 to 10, how useful would that offer be following a storm? What about my mom? She's disabled and can't walk well. Would she like to read a story? Send cards to others? Offer a workshop on engaging people who have more limited mobility? People don't fit cookie cutter molds. Congregations have for a long time developed their ways of doing things, just like corporations and nonprofits and just about every group ever, making their own cookie cutter molds. We are still trying to use our congregations to fit these molds that were set up 3 or more generations ago that simply no longer work. This is not a failure on our parts. What is a failure is when we don't change. This is true for individuals and any and all collections of individuals. When we try to make traditional cookie cutter molds and models work, we fall short only because the molds and models don't fit our current needs. We are the blessings, and we should be able to celebrate this. Our work, however that manifests, is a blessing we offer to each other and the world. In our story today, an outsider, a rain singer, came into a town where the heat and drought were making the community ache. People weren't doing too much because of the heat and because, frankly, there wasn't much to be done. And they were concerned because their crops weren't going to survive if rain didn't come. But what was there to do? And this woman shows up, vibrant and joyful, and they really weren't sure what to make of her. And then she says, she can sing down the rain. Have you ever heard such a thing? But then she goes at it. She starts singing. Something shifts. The air starts to feel different. There are sounds that haven't been heard in a while. Burak. Z, 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 ah, ah, ah. There's energy, almost like electricity all around. The children, of course, are the first to believe. They feel the magic, the mystery, the power and wonder possible in their saying yes, lifting their voices together to the sky. That's the thing. It's not the singing alone that brings the rain. It's the singing together that forms the drops that fall like any number of sweet blessings on the land and people and all the creatures. It takes everyone to make a community sing. We can only get out of it what we put into it. Congregations do better when more are involved. I know there's a sense of general overwhelm about everything and a concern about committing and not being able to do something. But what if? What if we all dared to join in and lift our voices to sing down the rain? No one is asking you to clean the gutters or chair a committee, although if you're offering that, no one will say no either. Except for chairing a committee. I'll say no to that for you right now. But maybe you can help with dishwashing or setting up coffee hour once a quarter. Maybe you'd be willing to greet people as they enter the church. Maybe you'd be willing to be the second adult spending time with our children and youth that we've not had for most of this last year and very badly need. Maybe you would be interested in helping our stream team on Sunday mornings. Maybe you have another passion but aren't sure who to connect with or how to make it happen. Let's talk about it. What if we all dared to join in and lift our voices to sing down that sweet rain, to let the blessings flow? What showers of blessings might we create to celebrate ourselves and each other and this congregation? What are the risks of yes that you're willing to take to make this community better this year? Each week when we gather in this space, we bless it with our presence. We make it holy or sacred. It is a gorgeous space inside and out, and it is a joy to be here. But it is the people who give it life by our care for each other, for the space, for the world around us. It is for this reason, the ways that we bless it, that I remove my footwear each week when I lead worship. It is one way that I can honor our blessings, the holiness that we create among each other, that I affirm that we have made this ground sacred. And once a year, our congregations offer what I always think of as a unique consecration of our shared space. Following a service created for the Women and Religion Continental Convocation of Unitarian Universalists, held in 1980, water ceremonies were brought to our congregations throughout Unitarian Universalism. Carolyn McDade and Lucille Shuck Longview created the service and a new ritual that, as they say, spoke to our connectedness to one another, to the totality of life, and to our place on this planet. They asked some of the attendees to bring water with them from the places they called home and shared the significance of those waters as they poured them into a communal bowl. This is the beginning of a ritual many of us have come to look forward to each year. It is a reminder that we are all connected, that all the waters lead to the same source and then go round the whole world again and again throughout time. This may feel especially connecting not only regarding our place among life and lives on this planet, but also thinking about our religious traditions that remind us we both come from one love and are eventually returned to it. My first year with you, we created a virtual space with a slideshow held lovingly for all the waters and places we hold our everyday lives and in our most tender places in our hearts. Last year, we waited until we reopened to have water communion. We have been reopened for just over a year now. The communion featured 5 different jars of water, each marked with a word from the 5 stones in the front garden: love, justice, joy, courage, and hope. And all those in attendance were asked to pour water from one of the jars and offer a silent aspiration or commitment to the congregation for the coming year. We then took the collected waters out to the newly installed fountain and blessed it with all that joy and hope. This year, we're doing something a little different. Each of you here in the building should have received a water droplet or a cloud and something to write with. If you are joining us via Zoom, my ask is that you write what I am going to ask you in a moment, to respond to in the chat, to send me an email, or to speak your response out loud following the service when you can chat together. If you are here in the building and writing is hard for you, you can ask a neighbor, or I would happily help you with that during the coffee hour. If you have not yet received a raindrop or cloud or something to write with, would you please raise your hand, and Barbara will be around to bring that to you. Not yet. What I'd like you to write on your droplet or cloud is: what hope, blessing, or promise do you have or will you make to this congregation for this year? It would be great for concrete things, but there are also a lot of reasons why you might not feel like that's a good fit for you at this time. And certainly, if you are new or newer, it would be lovely for you to offer us a blessing. We're not asking you to commit to chairing a committee on your first day here, although that is the way of our people, so I do need to actually say that out loud. Maybe the blessing is something related to what brought you to us, or some hope that you have for us in the coming year. How will you make your mark on this congregation in the coming year? So write down a hope, blessing, or promise to this congregation, to each other, on your cutout. You can write your name if you want. You can write more than one if you want. We will be collecting these, and when we will have another project that we're going to do in a few weeks, and together we're going to create an amazing visual display of these blessings raining down on this congregation, that the blessings may flow. While you do this, I've asked Bonnie to play a song for you. We will collect the cutouts at the end of the song.
I'll play it once through as the choir is coming up.
As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, sisters, let's go down, let's go down, come on down. Oh, sisters, let's go down, down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, brothers, let's go down, let's go down, come on down. Oh, brothers, let's go down, down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, fathers, let's go down, let's go down, come on down. Oh, fathers, let's go down, down to the river to pray. As I went down to the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, mothers, let's go down, let's go down, come on down. Oh, mothers, let's go down, down to the river to pray.
We have a blessing for water from Starhawk. Praise and gratitude to the sacred waters of the world, to the oceans, the mother of life, the womb of the plant life that freshens our air with oxygen, the brew that is stirred by sunlight and the moon's gravity into the great currents and tides that move across the earth, circulating the means of life, bringing warmth to the frozen Arctic and cool, fresh winds to the tropics. We give thanks for the blessed clouds and the rain that brings the gift of life to the land, that eases the thirst of roots, that grows the trees and sustains life even in the dry desert. We give thanks for the springs that bring life-giving water up from the ground, for the small streams and creeks, for the mighty rivers. We praise the beauty of water, the sparkle of the sunlight on a blue lake, the shimmer of the moonlight on the ocean's waves, the white spray of the waterfall. We take delight in the sweet singing of the dancing stream and the roar of the river in the flood. We ask help to know within ourselves all the powers of water, to wear down and to build up, to ebb and to flow, to nurture and to destroy, to merge and to separate. We know that water has great powers of healing and cleansing, and we also know that water is vulnerable to contamination and pollution. We ask help in our work as healers, in our efforts to ensure that the waters of the world run clean and run free, that all of Earth's children have the water they need to sustain abundance of life. Blessed be the water. If you would join us in our closing hymn in the Teal hymnal, number 1064, Blue Boat Home.
Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, neither harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry seas, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here in my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim soul, making our way by the light of the oceans in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great wind surging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor song. I was born upon the fathom, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
That's a great song. Thank you so much.
In The Gift of Faith, Jean Harrison Newyar has written, in the lore of ancient China, there is a story of a philosopher who was asked, where is the road called hope? He replied, it does not exist, but as people move upon it, it comes into being. I invite you to continue moving forward on this path, this journey, this road called hope with me.
the wheel of the water goes round. The wheel of the water goes round and round, and the wheel of the water goes round. Clouds rain down, thunder and lightning sound. Clouds rain down, thunder and lightning sound. See the vapors rise, see them cloud the skies. See the vapors rise, see them cloud the skies. Springs bubble, bubble up, springs bubble, bubble up. Springs bubble, bubble up, springs bubble, bubble up. The wheel of the water goes round and round, and the wheel of the water goes round. The wheel of the water goes round and round, and the wheel of the water goes round. The wheel of the water goes round and round, and the wheel of the water goes round. The wheel of the water goes round and round, and the wheel of the water goes round. See the vapors rise, see them cloud the skies. See the vapors rise, see them cloud the skies. Springs bubble, bubble up, springs bubble, bubble up. Springs bubble, bubble up, springs bubble, bubble up. Springs bubble, bubble up, springs bubble, bubble up. Springs bubble, bubble up, springs bubble, bubble up.
Thank you very much.
Our chalice extinguishing is by Kimberly Quinn Johnson. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are not perfect, but we are perfectly fitted for this day. We are not without fault, but we can be honest to face our past as we chart a new future. We are the ones we have been waiting for. May we be bold and courageous to chart that new future. May we have faith in a future that is not known. We are the ones we have been waiting for.
It sticks, yes.